You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new Galaxy starship has been designed.
Hailing frequencies open. Welcome to Galaxy Class, a Star Trek The Next Generation podcast on BQN. I'm holo photographer Stefan.
And I'm Ambassador Steven.
Good morning, afternoon, Ambassador Steven.
Good afternoon,
what is
good
happening?
morning. You know, spring.
Woo! Spring. Woo! Yeah, spring, and you know what happens in spring, early summer?
It snows.
It snows! It did snow here the other day.
It's snowing here right now.
Why? In a couple of days, I have to ask, this is a Star Trek podcast, but we are broad spectrum nerds. In a couple of days, it's going to be Star Wars Day. Are you doing anything for that?
I will probably watch something Star Wars related, maybe one of the Ewoks movies, just for fun.
Yeah, those movies are very interesting. I watched them for the first time in the last year to complete my rewatch of all the Star Wars live action universe, and I thought they were interesting. They're in that sweet spot of like those 80s practical effects that I think
Right.
are really good, you know?
Absolutely.
Speaking of other universes, today, listeners, we're going to return to an episode style we did last season called Slapdash Crew Clash, where I have a wheel. I have inserted various scenarios, other franchises where we'll dump our beloved TNG crew into, and we'll kind of talk through what might happen. Steven has no idea what's on this wheel, and so it's going to be a joyous, chaotic episode. So let's head over to that segment.
This is the captain. Senior officers will report to my ready room immediately.
All right, Steven, you ready?
Let's do it.
Ready to surf the multiverse via transporter malfunctions?
Allons-y.
I am spinning the wheel, and it is slowly coming upon. Oh, this is a rough way to start.
Let's do it.
We have landed in, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you what the universe is. I'll just read the question. And let me backtrack a little bit. There are questions here that focus on each TNG crew member, and then there's one that focuses on all of them. So this is the data question. While researching significant pop culture book series of the 21st century, Data comes across and reads the entirety of the Twilight series. Does he, A, write it off as irrelevant teeny bopper fluff, B, discuss its confusing emotional elements with Counselor Troy, or C, add sparkling vampires to his array of painting projects?
That's awesome. I really want it to be B and C.
Yeah.
Because
you don't
the emotional piece, right? Like complicated emotions, I get it. But also, I feel like the sparkling vampires are not terribly far away from his android, right? Like he's very pale, and
yes.
I'm sure in certain lights so I feel like it could be like sort of a variation on a theme in his painting works, but also the emotions, he'll need to discuss them.
I do feel like, as a person that did read most of those books, I do feel like some of the choices that they make in those books are very confusing. And I think you're right. Did Brent Spiner have makeup that had a little bit of shimmer in it?
Absolutely. It's the way the light, the stage lights hit him gave this sort of shimmer effect. So I think there's a kindred affect there between the Twilight vampires and Data himself. And
I'm going to sidebar a little bit with Data's paintings. Do we know if those paintings ever went up for auction?
Like the paintings on the show in real life?
Any of the paintings in the show that were props, because there was that big Christie's auction in the mid 2000s, and I watched, there was a whole documentary on it. I don't know if you've seen this, Steven, but it's so cool. It was in 2006, I believe, and they auctioned off so many Star Trek props. This was after Enterprise ended, right? So the 18-year run of the Berman era was winding down.
Right.
I don't remember if they had any of the paintings left. I wonder if there are some rich fans out there that have Data's paintings in their house.
That would be really fascinating to see one of those in real life up close.
Yeah.
I wonder, I mean, I know like right now there's an auction going on of Star Trek stuff from like Discovery and Picard and all that. So I'm curious if something similar was happening then. And yeah, maybe these ended up somewhere, or maybe Brent Spiner has them in his home.
Maybe. I don't know. I know the one thing he didn't want to take home from that show was the cat, right? He's lamented many times that he did not like working with the cat. Shout out to Spot. We love Spot.
All the spots.
All right, let's move on to our next random scenario. And the wheel is spinning. You can't hear it, but it is. Oh, it looks like it's trying to land back on Twilight, which we don't want that. So this is a scenario with Counselor Troy. Counselor Troy falls through an unstable temporal anomaly and lands on the Titanic 24 hours before it sinks. She has no technology with her, and the Enterprise cannot swoop in to rescue her. What does Counselor Troy do?
That's so sad.
I know. I promise this is the most morbid of the questions. Probably.
I mean, 24 hours before, at first, she won't even necessarily know anything's going wrong. I mean, she's half human, half Betazoid. Will she even be generally aware? I mean, this happened centuries before. She might not even be aware of what this is.
I think that's the first question I had when this question fell out of my brain. I was like, I guess my first question would be, as you said, is she aware of this historical event?
I don't think she would be.
Okay.
Comes to mind from Star Trek canon that tells me that Troy has any interest in Earth history, generally as aware of things like Zefram Cochrane's first warp flight and stuff like that. But the sinking of the Titanic in the 24th century probably is nothing, right? It's a blip in history, and so she might not even know. Now, that said, as soon as distress happens, her empathic abilities will pick up on something ain't right. The cruise in the first 20 hours, she's just gonna try to figure out where she is and try to communicate with her crew. And but I don't think she's going to have any inkling of what's going on or what historic moment she's about to partake in.
Let's say she starts after the ship is hit, right? Everyone kind of was continuing as normal for a bit, but after the ship is hit, let's say she starts picking up empathically on the crew being aware of this issue, and maybe some of the crew talking about not having enough lifeboats. I feel like as a Starfleet officer, does she try to go work with them to figure out how to rescue everybody or what to do exactly? Or does she realize, well, I can't change history?
I absolutely believe B. Prime Directive, temporal, I think of it the temporal directive, if that's not, they don't have that yet, but she's not going to want to impact history, right? It's as a Starfleet officer, she needs to stay as far away from what's going on as possible. But then I feel like there's this terrible moral dilemma of, does she just go down with the ship? Because she wouldn't, if she's saved, does that mean someone else is not saved? And does that, what time effect ripple would that have if she takes someone's spot by accident? Or, I mean, they're just, oh my God, what a horrible place to put Counselor
What a
Troy.
horrible, stupid question. I mean, it is absolutely a conundrum. And I think you and I've watched Star Trek, our entire lives since Fetus. I feel like the honorable Starfleet respect the timeline thing to do would be to not interfere and go down with the ship. If she's unaware that there aren't enough lifeboats and she kind of accidentally gets in a lifeboat, I wouldn't be mad at that. But it's a tough scenario, and I feel like she would probably end up going down with the ship. I don't know about alternatives.
I think if anything, she would find people, maybe specifically children or the elderly, who are scared, and try to use her empathic abilities to help calm them, to help their last moments be ones that aren't so scary.
Brilliant. I love that. I haven't seen the movie Titanic in years, but as you mentioned that, what comes to mind is there's a woman with 2 kids in like steerage that like they know that they are going to not make it off the boat, so she's reading them a book or telling them a story, I think. And it's the saddest scene in that movie for me. Well, then there's the older couple that are kind of like holding each other as the waters coming into their quarters or their room. Man, that movie's very sad. But yeah,
This is like such a heavy question.
Counselor Troy would probably do exactly what she said and try to comfort people as the ship went down. So, and it wouldn't affect the timeline if those people were destined to pass away anyway.
Right.
All right. Well, I do believe that is the darkest question that I wrote. So let's move on to something a little bit lighter, hopefully. The wheel is spinning, and it is trying to land on Twilight again. We will not be returning there. This is a Riker question.
All right.
Commander Riker discovers that McDonald's, Subway, and Taco Bell have all managed to preserve through the 24th century their full menus in the Federation replicator database. After sampling them all, which is his favorite? This is a much lighter question.
Okay.
So Riker, after a long day, flipping through the replicator menu, finds all this stuff.
You said McDonald's, Subway, and
Taco Bell.
I'm thinking that Riker is a sandwich guy.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with Subway.
Oh, okay.
The foot long. I mean,
okay.
He's a
big guy,
good sized man with a good sized appetite. You know, being a brass player myself, you know, you gotta get the body ready, right? Get those carbs in, and I feel like the sandwich is probably the way he'd go.
Okay, that's interesting. That I was thinking. I feel like Riker is a McRib guy, right? Like,
yes.
Or also, here in Alaska, there's a specific burger to the McDonald's up here. Actually, I don't even know if it's still around. It's called the Denali Mac, I think. Oh. It's essentially like a Big Mac, but either bigger or just different somehow. It's like the big Alaska burger that McDonald's has here. And so as I was thinking, you know, Riker is from Valdez, Alaska. So I was like, maybe he would like that. Or I feel like he would just like the meatier, heavier stuff from McDonald's. But yeah, I could see him being a Subway footlong guy too.
Fun little tangential fact. So
that's tangent.
I think we're generally aware that McDonald's has different offerings depending on where they are in the world. But I was in like the English countryside and I was starving. It was late. There was a McDonald's. I went and I ordered chicken strips and they asked if I wanted sauce. And I said, yes, please. I'd like some ranch sauce. And the cashier looked at me and said, I'm sorry, what? And I said, ranch, please. And she said, I don't know what you're saying. And then she handed me a little placard that showed what sauces were available, and ranch wasn't one of them. And I asked, is ranch just not a thing here? And she's like, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know what you're saying. So ranch sauce is very distinctly American. And in the UK, at least this was back in 2018, they had no idea what ranch sauce was. And there was a sauce on their menu that we don't have. I don't recall what that was. But she was so unfamiliar with ranch as an item that like she didn't know what I was saying. She couldn't understand the word I was saying.
She didn't understand that you were saying the word ranch because like surely in the English countryside they know the word ranch, but she didn't
understand the word in conjunction with the sauce that would go with chicken strips. So I kept saying ranch sauce and she's like, I'm sorry, sir, I don't understand.
Well, that's unfortunate. I've spun the wheel to move to our next scenario. You ready, Steven?
Let's do it.
The Tasmanian Devil, by some miracle, is admitted into Starfleet Academy.
Oh, no.
How do Wesley Crusher and Boothby react to him?
He is Boothby's worst nightmare because he has a trail of destruction wherever he goes. I think Wesley would find him interesting. and he'd be able to understand him because with the universal translators, we'd actually understand what the Tasmanian Devil was saying. So I think that Wesley would find him interesting and want to learn more about him. Wesley's inquisitive mind and generally positive demeanor would, I think, be open to like, hey, because I'm guessing Mr. Tasmanian Devil wouldn't be making a ton of friends, and Wesley Crusher would be like, oh gosh, well this poor guy doesn't have anyone, so I'm gonna hang out with him. I want to see what's going on, and I think he'd try. I don't know how successful he'd be. I don't know where that friendship would lead, but I think that Boothby would be like, one more time and you're out of the academy. And because just walking through the gardens, he'd make a mess. But I think Wesley would try to befriend him.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Boothby thing, and I came to the same conclusion that he would be, Tasmanian Devil would be Boothby's worst nightmare. And we've seen Boothby across TNG and a little bit on Voyager. That was, it was a Species 8472 impersonating him. But we've seen Boothby enough to where I do feel like he's this guiding force to cadets, but he also will not put up with certain things. Right. So I have a hard time imagining how he would manage the chaos of a being or a character like that. Ban him from the gardens and on the grounds? I don't know. A good point about the universal translator, though. I had not thought about that. And I was trying to imagine, is there a scenario where, I don't know, in the future when Wesley leaves with the Traveler, right, and gains these powers to be able to move through different universes, is there any scenario where he comes back and gets the Tasmanian Devil for, I don't know, a mission? Like remember season 2 of Picard, Steven, where he came back to get Data's daughter? He was like, oh, we're going to go travel the multiverse.
Right.
Do I want to see a buddy show with those two? I don't know.
I feel like a one-off story of we need to cause complete chaos and destruction. So he says, I got a guy, and like goes and gets the Tasmanian Devil and says, have at it. I think that could be really fun. Yeah,
and now you've made me think of Wesley Crusher's appearance in Prodigy and those chompy, what were they called? The Loom? Those chompy creatures that were out to just eat up time or I don't remember the scenario. I only watched that season one time, but the creatures I'm talking about?
I do, yeah.
Maybe the episode is he takes the Tasmanian Devil to their home world or their nest to knock them all out or kill them all. That doesn't sound very Star Trek, but I feel like Tasmanian Devil's chaos would work in battling. I think they were called the Loom. Listeners, you probably know, but I do not recall exactly.
I think about the original series where there were sort of fun little things they would do to annoy each other or whatever, right? Like when they send the Tribbles to the Klingon ship, right? I want to see the Tasmanian Devil left on a Vulcan ship.
Oh, man.
Like the wrong Vulcan, whatever, ambassador, captain, whatever, ticks off Wesley or whomever, I don't know, offends Dr. Crusher, like offends his mother, and he just like drops off the Tasmanian Devil, I don't know, in the Vulcan Science Academy or something like that. I think that would be hysterical. Complete chaos in the midst of complete order.
I was gonna say, or the Vulcans just beam him into space, but that's not a very. I don't think they would do that. They would probably, they would have to deal with it somehow.
They'd extricate him, I think, kindly. I would hope so.
Lower Decks, come back. Give us this episode. Okay, Warner Brothers and Paramount are like merging or whatever. I'm not really super familiar with the business side of things. I know that there's the big merger, but like Warner Brothers owns Looney Tunes, and I think they're merging with Paramount, something like that. Let's bring back Lower Decks. Let's get a Looney Tunes Lower Decks mashup episode or movie or something.
That'd be fun.
Still mad that Lower Decks is not around anymore.
Agreed.
Speaking of which, listeners, you can't see this, but Steven, I'm looking at a very cool looking picture of the Cerritos hanging behind you that I don't recall seeing before.
Yeah, it was a gift from a friend of mine. It's just a lovely print of the Cerritos, and at the bottom just says Star Trek Lower Decks 2020. And it's a cool, fun print that lives in my ready room.
Very, very cool. I like it. All right.
Shout out to Jonas.
Shout out to Jonas. All right. I hope you're listening, Jonas. Okay, I have spun the wheel and we're ready to go to our next scenario. The Federation News Network is looking for anchors for their 24th century reboot of Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update. The entire Enterprise D senior staff auditions. Which two of them get hired as anchors and why?
Worf. 100% Worf.
I did not expect that. Okay.
Because he is so unintentionally humorous.
True.
Like he's prune juice, a warrior's drink, right? Yes. He's unintentionally funny.
Okay.
And I think Guinan.
Okay.
Because she knows how to manipulate a situation in such a way that, I think the two of them play off each other well. I think that she's got such a wonderful wealth of experiences to draw from. And like I said, Worf being Worf is hysterical.
Yeah.
So I think those two.
Okay. That's really interesting. Have you watched Saturday Night Live recently? Like, do you know the current anchors of Weekend Update?
Yes.
Colin Jost and Michael Che.
Yes.
And I do kind of, as you say, Worf, I could like Michael Che energy is sort of like Worf energy sometimes, in that he's sort of the straight man out of those two. Not exactly a 1-to-1, but I can kind of see that. And so you're saying Guinan, because she's so long-lived and she's so wise about humanity, she would be a good Weekend Update anchor.
I think that she'd be able to pull off the skits and not break into laughter and not, I just feel like she'd be so good at the comedic delivery and being able to, like, I think about, throwing back to the, late 90s, early 2000s, maybe even the 2000s, but like the Stefan updates.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
With the hands over the face.
The hands over the nose.
And sometimes, because the whole point of the hands over the nose was to cover when he was laughing. When oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. Bill Hader?
Yes.
When he couldn't help but giggle, that's where the hands over the mouth came from, because he was hiding his laughter. Gaiden wouldn't need that. She'd be able to get through it. I don't know. I think that would add to it, because whoever else they had on would eventually break up, and Gaiden would just have that look and the crazy fun hats and I don't know. Yeah, those are my picks.
Okay, I'm on board with that. I will say, like, my name is Stefan, and I've been told many times that I should dress up as Stefan for Halloween. I never have. He always kind of has the same shirt and these like sleeve tattoos.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be doing that, but okay. Interesting picks. Super unexpected picks, actually. I wasn't even thinking Guinan at all, but we love that character. All right. The wheel has spun. Ready for the next one?
Let's hit it. Yes.
Hit it, says Captain Pike. All right. So, classic holodeck malfunctioning episode. Mid-workout, a glitch causes Worf's calisthenics program to switch to a Super Mario Brothers holo program. He cannot change it back. Does Worf work with Mario to save Princess Peach from the castle? Or does he team up with Bowser to take over the Mushroom Kingdom?
If I'm being fully honest about my reaction, Worf contacts Geordi and says, "Get me out of here. This is nonsense."
Yeah.
But if he had to play along, if it's one of those where you have to get through the program to be able to exit, right? One of those.
Yeah.
I think Worf says, "Bowser, that's that. Now there's a warrior." And he teams up with Bowser to destroy everything else. I think that he'd see Bowser and his minions as warriors and be like a plumber, what's he gonna do?
I was gonna say, I was kind of struggling with this one, because on the one hand, Worf is a very honorable warrior, right? So would he see this scenario as, okay, Bowser has Princess Peach trapped, we must save her? Or the question is, mid-workout, it switches to Super Mario, right? So is he just so like hyped up about this that he's like, I'm just gonna like destroy everything or take Bowser's side and take over the rest of the Mushroom Kingdom? Because, and I do not remember this TNG episode, maybe you do, Steven, but there's an episode where Worf is doing his calisthenics program and Commander Riker needs to interrupt him for something, or he's trying to stop him, and Worf just about hacks his head off because he's like in warrior fighting mode, right? And Riker has to tell him to stand down. And it takes him a second, but he stands down. So that's my thought of like, if he's like in the zone and he's in the holodeck program, let's do this. Like, and he sees Bowser, like you said, as a warrior. Does he then just be like, I don't really care about these plumbers and just like take them out and take over the rest of the Mushroom Kingdom? So it's like the honorable side versus the in the zone mid workout hyped up side of Worf.
What if it's both? What if mid-workout, hyped up, like Berserker Worf says Bowser is a worthy opponent and says, plumbers, get out of my way. Perhaps today is a good day to die. And he takes on Bowser in that. So Bowser recognizes Bowser as a warrior and as a worthy opponent and says, hold my beer. I'm gonna do this. Get out of my way. And just destroys all of Bowser's minions and then fights Bowser. I'm thinking, actually, as I think through this, I think that's the way he goes, because he wouldn't see Mario as a worthy opponent, but he would see Bowser potentially as a worthy opponent. And if it's somehow communicated to him quickly that the goal is to save Princess Peach, well, there you go. So I retract my initial statement.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I had not thought about him looking at Mario and Luigi as worthy opponents, but like, for real, like a Batleth versus a Plunger, that's like immediate done deal. If we think about the fact that occasionally Mario and Luigi can throw fire, that might add a little something. But otherwise, I do feel like he would look at Bowser and be like more interested in fighting that guy.
Yeah, because even like the Fire Flower or like the Star, he would see those as cheating almost. Like well, okay, if you find one, then you're a good match for whatever you're fighting. But a real warrior is trained to handle any opponent at any time, and I can do that. So sit down. Let me go find Princess Peach.
Okay. I just want to see all these episodes now.
All I can think of now is the Lower Decks. What was it, the very first episode, right? I love honor. Give me honor.
Sidebar with Lower Decks. Do you think there's a shred of hope that Lower Decks will come back?
Unfortunately, I don't, but I really wish I was
really
wrong.
Either.
It was so good.
The tea leaves are, I think, pointing to, I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a break before we get any Star Trek back in production.
I think that's accurate. I think, between Alex Kurtzman being up in the air about, I think recently they did end up re-signing him, but there was talk that he wouldn't stay with Paramount, and it just, there's too much up in the air. Like, apparently there's a new movie in production or in
I mean, they've been saying that for how many years? When did Beyond come out?
So the fourth movie for that is officially dead, right? Like the fourth Star Trek Beyond, like 2009 movie is officially dead. But now they're saying they're working on an entirely other film, but different. At this point, frankly, I'll believe it when I see it.
Same. Yeah.
And with the canceling of Starfleet Academy, I think that we're coming up on a lull in new Trek. Which,
I think so
again,
too.
I hope to be wrong, but I don't see a lot more Trek coming on.
I hope to be wrong too, but I think we'll be okay, because we had such a lull after Enterprise was gone.
Right.
And I think all of us just rewatched everything. Star Trek is the fandom I'm most deeply integrated into. And I feel like it is very much a fabric and culture of this fandom to just rewatch and rewatch and rewatch. At least that's been my experience with the friends I've made in this fandom. And so if Star Trek goes dark for a few years, I mean, I'm just going to do what I always do and rewatch everything.
I think that there's also some utility to that, because there has been so much new Trek since Discovery that it gives us the time to actually, I think about when, that Berman era went on a hiatus, that gave me time to actually go deep with each series and get to know them. And, the Trek knowledge I have is because of that gap. And I wasn't consuming new Trek. I was re-consuming, as you said, the rewatches of what existed, and really going deep and like learning things and finding things I enjoyed. And maybe I rewatched this episode, I don't wait for a full rewatch. Think about Unification parts 1 and 2, having Spock on TNG was like awesome for me. And like, I remember buying those in VHS. I bought those episodes in VHS. I had all the films, but the only episodes I bought were those two, and then I think I bought All Good Things, but that was it. I didn't buy episodes. So I don't know. I think that if there is a pause, as we anticipate, it's a chance to really get to know these newer series. I'm really bummed about Starfleet Academy. I know.
Oh my gosh,
some hate from some people, but I thought it was amazing.
I'm just going to admit on air right now, I've watched all 10 episodes of season 1 of Starfleet Academy 3 times. I watched it twice each week it dropped, and then after that finished, I marathoned them all back to back.
It's amazing. I'm one watch behind you. I've watched them all twice, and it's awesome. I think it's so great. Great. Yeah. I'm so glad we're getting at least a second season, but I'm really disappointed that we're not getting more than that because these characters are fantastic. I think that one of the biggest criticisms of Discovery was the fact that it happened so close to canon, like what we already know so well, that they didn't have a lot of license to change things. So their jump to the future helped them with that. But this one is what everyone said they wish Discovery had been, right? When people were complaining, oh, well, they should have just put it way in the future so they can make it anything that they wanted it to be. Well, that's what they did with Starfleet Academy. And I think they're doing some incredible things with that license, that freedom. And I want to see it go further. The fact that, and listeners, you've probably learned this about me, I'm terrible with names. I'm bad with episode names. And with newer series, I get character names confused. But the character who throws up glitter, Darren Ramey. So I love that we have a species that when they get sick, they throw up rainbow glitter. That's amazing. Amazing. Perfect use of free will. Yes, writers. Yes.
It's a big universe. Infinite diversity in infinite forms of vomit, I believe is the phrase.
Close.
Well, I am also excited for the next season, but sad it will be the last. I'm hoping that it carries on in book form or something, but we'll enjoy it in the meantime.
Absolutely.
Back to the infinite universe or the infinite multiverse.
Geronimo.
The wheel has... What was that, Steven?
I'm throwing out Doctor Who statements.
We're going to jump to a different universe than Doctor Who. The wheel has landed on the Star Wars universe, and it's a Captain Picard question.
Oh, fantastic.
So, considering Captain Picard's fondness for the Argo in Star Trek Nemesis, let's say he joined the pod race in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Did he survive? If so, how did he place in the race? Before we get to this, I know you've seen Star Trek Nemesis, right? You know the scene we're talking about. It's a little controversial in the fandom. Some people think it's dumb. Nevertheless, it is canon Star Trek. Picard at the beginning takes the wheel of the Argo, and we get this kind of maybe a little contrived feeling action scene where he's having a lot of fun, basically driving a dune buggy through the desert. He's got Worf over there shooting the other random bad guys that just show up. We get to see this kind of rugged, wild Picard. So I do believe you told me once, Steven, you've seen all the Star Wars movies, right?
I have, correct.
You remember the pod racing scene from
of course.
The Phantom Menace? It's a really beautifully orchestrated action sequence. It really is.
I agree.
So let's take that version of Picard that loves this kind of high-speed activity, drop him into the pod race. Well, do we think he survives? Because some of these characters are pretty ruthless. What do you think?
So I want to start by saying I love the scene in Nemesis that shows Picard's fun and wild side. Yeah. I think that all the comparisons between Kirk and Picard, Kirk's the Casanova and Kirk's the action one. I think Picard has all those things. I think Picard's a little bit older and so a little bit more mature and maybe more measured in those things. But I absolutely think Captain Picard is, an action hero sort of person, and I love that scene. I love it. I love that you love that scene because people hate that scene. And remember the end of First Contact? We kind of get action hero Picard at the end, like in engineering, where he's swinging on the Borg tubes and stuff. And yeah, you're right. He is a little bit older, and maybe as he gets older, he just lets that version of him fly. I'm gonna jump a little bit in the future to Star Trek Picard season 1, the episode Stardust City Rag, where we see him putting on this funny accent. And I know a lot of fans thought, what is he doing? Is that the further evolution of Picard just growing older and just letting go and being fun and silly? Maybe. I think it's maybe great. It all started on that planet in Star Trek Nemesis where he decided we can have fun. And I mean, think about his history, right? The Nausicaan who stabbed him through the heart. Like he was in a bar fight in the academy, right? I don't think we connect that to the Picard we know, but that's where he came from.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. In his youth, his recklessness. Yeah.
Right? the Nausicaan. So I think that he is, I mean, you think about the Picard maneuver with the Stargazer. I think that not only does he survive this race, I think he might win.
Okay.
I think he's clever as a pilot, right? Because he started as a pilot, correct? Didn't he begin his career as a pilot on the, was it the Reliant?
I do not know.
I believe he started as a pilot. If memory serves, listeners, you'll know better than us.
Yes.
Or at least you'll know. But yeah, I think that I think at the very least he's going to survive it for sure.
Okay,
I do believe that, and I think he even has odds of winning it.
Okay, I like that. I'm just thinking about the other racers, and trying to bump them off the track, and then you have the. This is where my lack of Star Wars knowledge comes in. What are the Tusken Raiders up there, like shooting at the pod racers? I do think Picard is pretty wise and can read a scene pretty well and probably navigate himself around a lot of the unethical competitive choices the other racers are making.
Agreed.
Okay, I'm down with that answer. And with that, we have 2 questions left. The wheel is spinning. Any guess on what the franchise or scenario might be, Steven?
Maybe Battlestar Galactica?
I did think about Battlestar Galactica when you were talking about the Berman era hiatus, and we got to go back and watch things. I did think, because of the 2004 Battlestar Galactica, I was mostly watching that, and I did not watch Enterprise as it was running. And I know, bad Trekkie over here. The show is so good. Shout out Ronald D. Moore. I'm sure he's listening. It's so good.
It's so good.
I was watching that, and I just did not watch Enterprise while it was running as much. And so I got to go back and rewatch that. But yeah, I do love Battlestar Galactica. It's so good. Definitely. There was supposed to be a reboot of it being done by, the guy that does Mr. Robot, Sam Esmail or something like that. That's been in production hell for such a long time. I don't know if they could do a better job anyway, because that Battlestar Galactica reboot was fantastic. But we are not going to that universe. We're moving to a different universe. The question is this. Dr. Crusher's latest stage production is Stephen Schwartz and Winnie Holtzman's Wicked.
Oh, okay.
Who does she cast as Elphaba, Glinda, and the Wizard? And do they actually want to play these roles? Because we know the Doctor will not let you go from a role if she thinks you're really good. You, as a theater person, Steven, I expect some good answers here.
All right, you ready?
What do you got?
Elphaba, as played by Geordie LaForge.
Okay.
Glinda, as played by Commander Data.
Okay.
And the Wizard, played by Chief O'Brien.
All right. Unexpected. I do like where we're going with Geordie and Data, friends, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What? Go ahead and tell me give me your line of thought with O'Brien, or all of it.
So my line of thought, with Geordie and Data, right, as looking at the senior staff, very few of them actually act. So if we have to cast from those crew members, I think the two of them, the camaraderie they already share in their real life friendship will play well in the performance. And I think Dr. Crusher will coach them well in those roles. I just think it could be fun.
Their natural chemistry, get it on stage.
Right. And just like Glinda and Elphaba, they don't always agree, but they take the time to explain to each other. I think there's a natural crossover there. Chief O'Brien as the Wizard. So Chief O'Brien is inherently a curmudgeon, and I adore that fact about him.
Okay.
He, I think, wants to get things done and wants to get things done well, and is creative about how to do it, as the Wizard is. Now, granted, the Wizard has an underlying sort of deviance that I don't necessarily see in Chief O'Brien. But we're having them play characters. So I think the curmudgeonly, fatherly, leave me alone and let me do my stuff, I think between the Wizard and Chief O'Brien, I think there's a good crossover there. Good synergy.
Okay. I was going with O'Brien throughout his career. We see him pull off a lot of engineering miracles and magic. I was like, yeah, he's kind of a engineering wizard. I could see that role, but okay. I'm with you on that. Now, I'll admit I've only seen the Wicked movie, so I just wrote down the 3 roles that I thought of. Is there another role or 2 that you would want to cast?
I would want to cast Guinan as Madame Morrible.
Okay.
I think that would be a really fun role. And then Wesley Crusher as Bach.
Okay. I had to think for a second who that character was, because it's been a while since I saw the movie.
Right. And I think that would be something that Picard would say, hey Bev, put Wesley in here. Because Picard's always like slightly annoyed by Wesley, and Bach is slightly annoying throughout the show. So I think that could be a fun.
Okay.
Falls into the whole "shut up, Wesley."
Right. Shut up, Bach. All right. Good answer. Do all of these people want to play these roles, or did Crusher just kind of like strong arm them into doing it?
Data's the only one that was like, yes, please put me in, coach.
Yeah.
The other two absolutely had to be strong armed.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I see that. All right. So let's move on to our final question in today's Slapdash Crew Clash episode. This actually is a good one to end on because it brings us actually back to the Star Trek universe. So we are presently waiting to see the next season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which I think we got a release date recently. I believe that's coming out in July, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. I'm very excited about that. Another show I'm sad to see end. We know we have a season after that. It's like a shorter season, but we do love that show. So in thinking about Strange New Worlds, Steven, would you rather see an episode where Geordi travels back in time to work with Pelia on Pike's Enterprise? Or would you rather see Pelia dropped into the 24th century and onto the Enterprise D? Which episode do we want to watch?
Down. No question. Pelia dropped into the 24th century.
Okay.
No question. Because the chaos that she would create, she's such a chaos gremlin, and I love this about her. And I think that she'd have so much more fun. It would be so much more fun for us as viewers to watch her on the Enterprise D than it would be to watch Geordi on Pike's Enterprise. I think that would be fine. I think there could be interesting things about that episode. But having her go to the future and what about this? How does this work? How do we figure this out? I can just see her going through the ship and like tearing things apart and like, how does this work? And I think that would be really, really fun.
I think that would be really fun too, in the way that we love Lwaxana Troi coming on board and causing chaos, like with absolute disregard for everybody's like feelings and the militaristic rigidity of a starship and just causing insanity. I do think that would be fun. And after I wrote this question, I thought, well, if Pelia came on board the Enterprise D, with this retread Relics, where Scotty comes on board the Enterprise D and works with Geordi, it would be, they're such different characters.
I think that the sense of, as I just mentioned, sort of like, well, how'd you figure out this? I think that would be similar, but Scotty and Pelia are such different people. Yes. I think that so for instance, I absolutely see her having a crush on either Picard or Riker.
Yeah.
And having that be like Lwaxana Troi level discomfort.
Right. Yeah.
And I just think that would be so much fun. I think it'd be so much fun to see her go through all those things. And I could see even like a sub thing of like, what happened to all my stuff? Is it someone kept it, right? Like where I don't know. I think there's so many quirks and fun components of Pelia that could be worked into that. I would enjoy seeing that.
I love that you mentioned all the stuff that she has, because in an episode of Strange New Worlds, we get to see her quarters. She just has so much stuff in her quarters. And it makes me think of the Otoy Roddenberry collaboration, where they have created online, I don't know if you're familiar with this, Steven, but they've created online a website where you can walk around all of the bridges and various sets. That thing. I hope that somebody from Otoy went over there and scanned Pelia's quarters, because I want to have the ability to pull up that website and just go look at all this stuff that she has collected over the centuries in her quarters. Because that like there has to be some Easter eggs for fans in there. I don't recall the name of the episode, but I did not pause and go like look through everything. But it's so jarring in a universe where a lot of things are kind of clean cut and minimal. Her quarters were such a different vibe, and I would love to have that preserved so I can go someday in virtual reality, visit it on the website. I love the work that they've done preserving all the Trek history.
Definitely. I have to say, as an avid antiquer myself, to be able to sift through Pelia's quarters would be just incredible. I think that would be so much fun and so enjoyable.
Again, back to Star Trek's probably going to go on a break. I hope we get more Carol Kane in Star Trek somehow in the future, because what a different energy she brings to that show.
So good. So good.
And there we have it. That is today's episode of Slapdash Crew Clash. Thank you, Steven, for participating blindly. And have you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, this is fun to check out our characters that we love and know so well in other franchises. So I'm excited to see where we go next time when we do Slapdash Crew Clash.
It will be just as chaotic, I hope.
Hopefully not as dark.
Yeah, that Titanic question, I felt like, rough. I wrote that and I was like, is there any happy ending to this? Maybe not. Moving on to our Collector's Card Roulette segment. Listeners, this is where we pull a random card out of a pack of cards from the TNG era. It could be a TNG card, it could be a non-TNG card, but we don't know what these are. We just like to pull a random one and see what we got and talk about it. So I believe Steven has our pack of cards at the ready.
I sure do. Let's see what we got here. Oh, all right. We have Lieutenant Commander Geordi LaForge.
Yes.
Star Trek The Next Generation. This is number 13 in the series. Listeners, this is from the Star Trek Edition Skybox Master Series. So, card number 13, Lieutenant Commander Geordi LaForge. Quote, with Geordi, I had to rely not on his eyes, but on the expressiveness of the rest of his face to portray him on canvas, end quote. The artist is Keith Birdsong. The inspiration is Star Trek The Next Generation. The card continues to say, no one on the USS Enterprise is more innovative than Lieutenant Commander Geordi LaForge. When a problem seems insurmountable, it is often Geordi who comes up with a surprising solution. Blind from birth, Geordi's position of responsibility is a triumph of ingenuity and intelligence over disability. His warmth and humor are important to the collective goodwill on the ship, and he is highly valued by the captain and the crew. Gee, Stefan, how does this connect to Star Trek The Next Generation?
It's so interesting. I think the universe is telling us that not only are we doing the right show, because it seems like this character is from Star Trek The Next Generation, but also coming up this season on Galaxy Class, I believe we are going to do a deep dive on none other than Geordi LaForge, which is a character that I love. Steven, can you hold that card up to the screen for a second? Because sure. I caught a quick glimpse of it. Okay, I'm going to go back to the action figure era of TNG. Do you remember the Playmates action figures?
I sure do.
I mean, we see them all over conventions. I had a Geordi one, and for a second, I thought that card was the same art, that all those action figures came with a card. Remember that? I thought it was the same art, but it's not. Nonetheless, I think it's a pretty clear connection to TNG, and I look forward to talking more Geordi when we get to our future Galaxy Class episode.
Likewise.
Incoming transmission.
What's happening on BQN, you ask? We're not just a network. We're a universe of exploration, entertainment, and deep dives into the topics you love. Here's your star map to the sonic adventures awaiting you. Let's chart the Star Trek cosmos with all good things. Embark on a comprehensive journey through the entire Star Trek universe with the insightful crew of Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristen. From classic to current, they cover it all. Galaxy Class, engage! Steven and Stefan pilots this Alpha Quadrant mission, meticulously covering all aspects of Star Trek The Next Generation. Infinite diversity. Stay current with the newest Star Trek frontiers alongside Chrissy and Thad. Union Federation. Whether your allegiance lies with Starfleet or the Planetary Union, Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley offer a unified front, discussing both current Star Trek and the truly Trek at heart, the Orville. Crack open that book with Peter and the Trek Book Club podcast. delve into a rich tapestry of Star Trek's beta canon. What's the tea, Bev? Christo spills the latest Trek news and fandom insights with an essential LGBTQIA+ perspective, complete with engaging guest interviews. Our visual voyages that you can find on YouTube as well as podcasts are Trek Masters. Think you're a Starfleet Academy graduate? Test your knowledge with Davey and MC's challenging Star Trek quiz show. And The View Screen. Tune in live on Sundays for your dose of a Trek-inspired talk show. Kelvin and Amy host new 8-week seasons each spring and fall. But beyond the final frontier, we have Bargain Bin Gamer. Davey and Mitch, your self-proclaimed gamer guides, lead you to digital treasures, unearthing and reviewing the most affordable video game gems. Cinema Z. Grab your metaphorical popcorn for Mark and Matt's cinematic deep dives, unearthing overlooked films that demand your attention. History with the Szilagys. In order to never repeat it, tune in as Chrissy and Jason deliver bite-sized snippets of historical events from around the globe and transformational journeys. Host Lex Rosa explores what it means to embrace authenticity in the face of societal expectations. You can unlock deeper levels of engagement with our exclusive patron perks. The Hive Mind is where you can join our random script readings, live reaction shows, and roundtable discussions. You can also now watch All Good Things as an extended video edit and get a background look into the creation of a podcast. Also, check out our back catalog of It's Green and Amy's Math Moments. Stay connected to our ever-expanding galaxy of content by following BQN Podcasts on Instagram, Bluesky, YouTube, and Discord. We appreciate you choosing BQN to fill your auditory needs. Thank you for listening. Assimilate the audio.
We would love to hear what you thought of today's episode and hope you'll join us on our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, BQN Podcasts on Bluesky, or our Discord server to continue our discussion there. Links can be found in the show notes.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Here on BQN Podcasts, you will never hear commercials on any of our shows. If you'd like to help us keep our shows coming to you each week ad-free, consider becoming a patron of the network on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can join our Let's Fly reaction show, script readings, and other perks. Visit patreon.com/BQN for all the details.
If becoming a patron isn't your thing, you can still support the show by sharing our posts on social media, talking about it with your friends, or hitting the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leaving us a star rating and written review. That helps others to find the show.
At this time, we would like to thank our very own associate producer, Jim McMahon, and a special thanks to Mark White for our show artwork. We are so grateful for your support. And to all of our listeners, we send out a heartfelt thank you.
Thank you for beaming aboard the Galaxy class. And until next time, make now always the most precious time.
And if we're going to be damned, let's be damned for what we really are.
Engage.
Hailing frequencies closed.